Do you want me to start?
Christian,
It's been a while. We are kind of out of practice.
we're extremely rusty. Yeah. Yes, Christian. Tell them how you demanded to stop, and because I had the nerve of introducing 2 movies back to back. You scorched earth. You fucking. We're still going to court, people. This was what day 20 of this trial.
I'm not actually. I think it's day 37.
Yes.
We got a couple other.
They'll never know what I go through. They'll never know what I go through. Because Christian has mastered the one true religion, and I've been his lab rat throughout this whole thing. It is what it is. Yes, he controls the time that we record. He controls the content that we record. He controls the time frame of our recording. He controls. He has Mr. Reed. Christian is Mr. Reed in the flesh.
I guess all that's left is to slit your throat, huh?
He said in such a nonchalant way. He didn't break a sweat. God. So much truth was in that sentence. A lie detector would have just went blink. Like, nope, this is straight from the heart. Jesus.
Oh, Pierre. Now, okay. I think it's important that I shoot it to you straight on how I feel about this movie.
Sure, go ahead, man.
It was a bit of a miss for me. I just putting it out, like, to kind of, because I think it's important that I get out my perception of the overall experience before we go into the discussion, because I do think that some pretty profound and beautiful things can be discussed because of this movie, but the execution of some of this stuff and the way it progressed, not the biggest fan of. But I would like to hear how your impression was when you first saw this. Like, did this, like, because one thing I wanted to ask, when I was watching this movie, I could totally see how, actually, no, let me step back even further. And I'm going to connect this so it makes sense. There's a rapper, his name is Hobson. I know you and I talked about his stuff a lot because he's a brilliant artist. And he made this song. It was one of the Ill Mind of Hobson's. I think it was like him in a desert, and he was basically yelling at God. Are you familiar with the one I'm talking about?
No. The 2 Hill Minds I think I know are the 8 and 5, or no, they're the 5 and 7. The 2 most popular ones. Yeah, the last one was more about his kids, which wasn't that good. Yeah, I only know 2 Hill Minds. I don't know.
I think you know 3 too. That was when he was in a like a blue basement. He had a white shirt, and he was like talking about women, talking about black people, and then talking about like fuckboys, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. So the one that I'm thinking of, I think it's Ill Mind 4 maybe. And I remember that song when it came out. That was the first time where my perception of religion it changed. Like the start of me doubting everything that is involved with God and religion, at least from a Catholic or Christian standpoint. That song was the trigger for me that invoked that kind of thinking, and it was a very profound experience that I had. And to this day, I remember that whenever I see that song. So for this movie, why I brought that up is because I could completely understand or see how if somebody who, and I'm not saying this applies to you, I'm just saying in general, if someone watches this movie and they're like a devout Christian or believer of God, and then they see the ideas being challenged, the way that it gets challenged in this movie, I could see how somebody would hold this movie in extremely high regard because of the nature of the topics being discussed.
Right.
So with you, I don't think we've ever had like I don't know, have you ever had a conversation where because I know you have faith, or not you have faith, but like you believe in
God.
in God.
Yeah, the Bible. No, that I don't believe in it as I read the Bible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So have you ever had those ideas like really challenged by whether it be like a conversation or a form of like media, like a movie or a book or music or anything like that?
No, actually, this was the first one.
This was the first one. Okay.
Yeah. Also, like growing up, like this movie touches up on a lot. Like, right, even growing up on a church household, growing up with like my mom pretty much forcing my sister and I to go to church from now, it's just embedded till we do go to church. It is like, yeah, some of the things that Mr. Reed does talk about, especially with Sister Paxson when he's talking, how do you do the things you do because you've been told to do them since birth, like, although you know deep down. But on my end, I believe that I've seen enough bad and enough good to be able to say what faith, right? Believing without seeing that God does exist and there are some good in this world, and I do think that my prayers go somewhere, and I do think that there is so that's the thing, right? What I like about this movie, although Mr. Reed challenges the religion of these folks, the writers have Sister Barnes bounce back with some very like potent comebacks. Like it's not just one sided. And I love the back and forth that they do it beautifully, right? How he break down the Monopoly games to them. Like they're just iterations, right? It was Judaism, which was the first true one, and then the Quran came through with Islam, and then the Mormonism, as in you're just diluting the message. How she clapped back. But to get back to reel myself back in before we start talking about this movie, how yeah, I do believe in these things. I do think God exists. I do know God exists. I can't prove it through like tangible proofs, but also like Sister Paxton said, like it's a feeling that is strong from what I see that goes on in the world, from prophecies that I do see that are slowly coming to life that are written in the Bible. But yeah, on my end, I resonate. I love this movie a lot. And there's a lot that I don't like about this movie. I don't like how it ended. I don't like how, if you take away Sister Barnes' death, if you take away his obsession that she wasn't a real person, which that implant was just to prevent her from having kids, which even that, right? Like that to highlight her guilt because her religion would not, like she'll be ostracized for that. Like just to show you that people have skeletons in their closet. But, before I get into this more, what did you ask me, Christian? Because I feel like I'm straying further and further away from the question.
Well, it was more like because I know that these kind of conversations that really get to the core of what it means to have faith in God can be difficult to navigate. Or
Right.
not navigate, but it can, because I mean, these are the kind of questions that can cause the foundation of somebody's life to shake.
That is true.
So, and I find it quite fascinating having those kind of conversations. Me personally, like even now, the Diary of a CEO, you know, that channel you recommended me before. I'm
Yeah.
pretty much addicted to it. He released a video 3 days ago. It's called Atheist versus Christian versus Spiritual Thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the richest conversations I've ever heard in regards to like discussing what it means to have faith. This guy on it, his name is Alex O'Connor, I believe, and he's a modern philosopher, wildly brilliant guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I could tell if you're somebody, like not you and like specifically, but if you're someone who, if anyone is somebody who anchors their confidence and who anchors the choices that they make in life to this being called God, then watching that video can really be upsetting.
What video? Oh, the movie?
No, not the movie, the Diary of the CEO, like that
Oh, okay.
podcast.
I haven't seen that episode actually.
Yeah, and I'm somebody who I love to ask the really hard questions
Right.
about religion. So I don't know, like, do you want to maybe not get that intense with it? Because I'm not sure like how much you want to like have those ideas challenged right now, because that could be very exhausting for some people. I just want to like check in first though, because that's at the beating heart of this movie. It's challenging religious ideas, so I feel like we'll have to touch it in some regard. But do you not want to go like too deep into that? Yeah, I guess that's the question.
I mean, that's fine. Like most of these things I won't be able to prove to you, right? But those are just the things that I do like believe in, and indoctrination plays a big role into it. What is it? Repetition plays a huge role into it. These are things I was born into. You know, these are things that were instilled in me since a young age, which I could have like went against as I grew like older. Like I don't live with my parents, right? I live with just my sister. Like we could have strayed away from that if it's not a thing that we actually got to a point where we gelled with and believed in and respected. But I'm still as religious as I was when I was growing up in my parents' home. That's by choice. Yeah, but at the end of the day, right, those will be like different choices, different opinions. That's another thing too, right? Religion is very subjective. That's why there are so many of them. The concept of faith itself. But yeah, dude, I have no issues of getting into that. But like I said, well, first of all, this movie is anchored around Mormonism, not all of them. He touches on the other iterations through the Monopoly game and through the different dialogues that they have, which I thought the writers did such a good job. But what I constantly like about this movie is the fact that there's always a balance. Like Sister Barnes' character always have an answer for him. And you could see that she angered him enough that kill, like although he was listening, like he heard them plot, he would have had to get rid of her anyway because she was just so challenging. She was not allowing him to get his message, which is extremely flawed, that she like broke down. It's very one-sided. and I thought they highlighted that very nicely. Like even Judaism, right? He's like, that's the OG religion. That's the original monopoly, which I forgot the name. The poor lady who never got credited for it. Another thing too, I didn't fact check these things, but I'm going in with the benefit of the doubt that these writers like did their homework on even the original Monopoly game, the Landlord's game. How, yeah. Did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't fact check it either. But like you, I'm assuming they're telling the truth here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm learning I learned some pretty interesting stuff from what he was saying that I had no idea.
I did not have any idea of this too. It's no the points they made, like even when he asked them, I'm about to ask you all a very uncomfortable question. How do you feel about polygamy? You know, like right away, you know, Mormonism, that he's saying a religion that used an abomination revealed through a revelation to allow them to be used in times where it wasn't supposed to. And of course, you know, Sister Barnes, the indoctrination, like we mentioned, grew up. That's what they've been telling her. Like, yes, although polygamy is wrong, this is what we needed to reproduce, to have more babies, to grow and strengthen our community. And then he flipped that. I think your boy, the founder of your church, Joseph Smith, used polygamy to legitimize his affairs with other women, with his 16-year-old maids. He used it for consequence-free sex. Like, you know how crazy of an argument, a debate, like that can be? And you'll find a ton of people today will be like, yeah, like if men is flawed, if men lies and cheats, and we're to believe that the Spirit of God flows through man, how do we believe that it's true? Just know the points that he make, man. It's just, bro.
That question, I think, is very, it's very essential. Like, it's crucial that be considered in all of this. Because I remember I told this to somebody once. Like, if you went back in time, really far back in time, and somebody's walking through a forest, and then they hear, and it's like this really dark forest, and then in the sky, they hear something speak, and it speaks this thing in repetition. People back then, if you didn't have knowledge of the world, you could chalk that up as like a ghost or a spirit, and then go back to like your clan or your village or your tribe or whatever, and tell these stories about how you heard a ghost in the forest, and it was maybe some divine intervention, and then that story can get passed down to your children or whatever, and it could progress so far, but the reality of that voice could have been like you know, the birds that mimic speech. So it's like, and that ties into what he's saying about how people are flawed. Humans are flawed. When they're conveying these stories, it's inevitable that like some things might get obfuscated, or some things might get missed, or some things might get revised. It's just the human account is not a very, it's not always
Authentic
a very
one?
authentic. It's not always reliable.
Yeah.
And the history of religion and the belief, it ties back into that era when people were not as like aware of the world. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, that's true. And also, people were less blank to come out and say you're wrong. What's the adjective I'm looking for?
Like open-minded.
Yeah, sure. Or even scared too, by the way, because most of these guys who started these religions weren't commoners. They were rich folks. Joseph Smith was not again, it's a movie focused on Mormonism. This wasn't some poor guy. So those folks already had enough influence to, like you said, like he said, legitimize his affairs by saying polygamy is a bad thing, but I'm Joseph Smith. I'm the starter of Mormonism. We need polygamy so we can grow and so our community can be built, so we can have more wives, more babies to strengthen our numbers. And people said, hi, and that's it. It's not like today where someone would be like, that's wrong. Or if they say that's wrong, you might have gotten beheaded. You might have gotten killed. You might have gotten ostracized from your clan. Yeah, for sure. These guys had less resistance from their peers, their fucking cult members and shit. So that's a big factor. That's a huge factor.
Yeah, and there's even there are some so I've heard various explanations of like how religion can come to be. One of the versions I've heard that I think holds some merit, at least to consider and ponder, is that it was, and it's actually, this guy was talking about control, how religion or is used to control people. That's one of the thoughts that I've heard to explain it. It's like the government needed, or not the government, but like the powers that be at the time needed a way to control people so that there wasn't, you know, anarchy, chaos. Yeah, like you need a system that can unify hundreds, thousands of people
with a set of orders. Yes, with a set of principles to follow. Yes, set of rules.
Exactly. And especially if you tap into like the the fear of the unknown, like the fact that nobody knows the truth of what's going on with this reality that we live in. And then you structure it in a way where you birth these principles, like you shouldn't harm your neighbor, or you should be kind, and you should do good charitable deeds. Like these are all things that you need people to subscribe to in order for a society to just coexist in harmony.
Yes.
Like you need these kind of things to happen. And especially if you go back in time, you'd be dealing with a lot of like peasants, a lot of fools, a lot of people who are not well educated to wrestle with the complexities of these concepts.
Yes. Education was scarce only to the folks in the higher up. It's true. Correct.
Exactly. So, and I think that's a pretty plausible reason. There was even there's a story with Christopher Columbus. I forget what it was, but like specifically, but it was something where like he was interacting with these indigenous people, and he swindled them because he told them that, I think this is what it was. He basically told them that if you don't give me your resources, then I'm gonna make the moon blood red, and I'm gonna put a curse upon you, or it was something like that. I'm probably butchering it a little bit, but basically he said that to those people because he had scientists in his crew who like a week before could determine that in the next week the moon is going to be blood red.
Yeah.
So, and that, I mean, it's like a very small microcosm of what could be this explanation of religion, that it's just using the fear of the unknown to control people who don't know any better, because you have a little bit more awareness of like what's going on. And it's a pretty, it can, I mean, that idea alone can cause people who are devoutly religious to like start to view things a little more skeptically about what they've been pursuing all this time. And I think it's pretty fascinating to talk about. But but I know that this is really tricky stuff for people to think about, because it can, if you go down this route, it can make you feel hollow. Like if you start to doubt the religion that you've been following for years on end, and it can, like the guy said in the movie, it's a very scary place to be. Whether you have, I think you said for both, whether you have belief or not belief. Yeah, they both leave you with a fear that it's different.
Yeah, the writers for his character. I like that this was like kind of a horror movie, but I like the fact that he never physically armed those girls, except for he actually killed one and attempted to kill another. So okay, so I take that back. he actually, he for sure actually. But it's just, I love the fact that this was mainly an intelligence, like tete-a-tete. It was like an intellectual debate, like very religiously inclined, of course. Like this, but also I like the horror that was being displayed in the girls' faces. Like, Mr. Reed, okay, can we leave now? They played it so nice. And he's like, oh sure, you can leave. It's like, oh yeah. And like the disbelief in belief, right? Like belief. If God is all knowing, some guy that we pray to who hates gays but made us that way, who watch us masturbate and we have to constantly shower with love and he only answers when he wants to, I'm scared.
Yeah,
that's belief.
He said he was so egocentric that he'll only do things if we worship him.
Right.
That's honestly, man, what do you think about that line?
Okay, so for that line, I think we have strayed so far. See, there's this thing. There's atheists. There's different religions. Like Muslims don't believe that God was dead, like Sister Barnes said. And there's too many different little groups for me to say a broad statement. So from my end, from what I've seen, or people within my circle, we have strayed so far away from religious roots that I'm assuming some of us used to have. Not assuming, like your parents probably were more religious. Their grandparents probably were way more religious. So is mine. Like we have Haitian background, so that's how I was born. So for that reason, it may feel like we have to beg to get something, but in my opinion, we've just strayed so far away from God's presence that it seems like we're only met with his like absence and his neglect when we're just so far. We're fornicating, we're constantly like lying, like we're cheating, just. And we also now live in a world where these core principles are no longer upheld. They're kind of ridiculed, right? Like a woman who's a virgin might be afraid to speak out nowadays, because like, what do you mean? Like what do you mean that guys are not going through? A guy who's waiting for marriage is a dork nowadays. It's just because things that do go hand in hand with religion. That's one thing that I hated about the movie that they never touched on. This idea of control that he's talking about. There's also order in control, right? This idea, because I'm religious, I shouldn't be drinking to the point where I'm drunk, that is a good rule to have like your limit set by. This idea that I should not be wearing provocative stuff to incite sexual fucking stuff in my direction is a good rule to have, you know, that I shouldn't have, that I should love my neighbor. It's a good thing. Like, it's order, that is true. It's control, that is true. But it's to the extent that if it's wrong, right? Like the extent that Joseph Smith, that he mentioned, polygamy so I can have affairs, that's wrong. Like, yeah, there's a lot. There's actually so much to dive into when it comes to his points or religion as a whole in this world, especially a world that's more loose, right? Like, so many things are being like, what is it, normalized, then legalized. It's just, we're straying away on a religious standpoint, on my lens, for my lenses. But that's just right. This is subjective. Someone else might say we've never been stronger as religious folks. It's just, yeah.
Well, you know, there's one thing about his character that I still have not, like, I don't get what his ultimate motive here was, because at first it seemed like he was, because he fabricated the whole thing about a woman being able to get resurrected from the dead.
Yeah.
But was he, like, because he fabricated it, because at first I thought he was trying to show them a real miracle, because he kept talking about the truth, like the true religion.
Right.
Well, I guess he was trying to get them to see that being under control, that is,
yeah.
But like,
yeah.
But why did he have all this set up? Like, was it for just any wandering nun knocking on his door? Like,
so how was he able to get these other women? Yeah, I'm assuming they either, his wife was alive, his wife did build a house. Interesting, it's a good point that they touched up on, and that's it. So was this a partnership of him and his wife studying for 50 years to the point where they realized they're malnourished, that any religion that they have immersed themselves into, once held under the microscope, they realized that it was extremely flawed. So they're like, fuck it, it's about control. Let's start kidnapping women and just showing other people that they are willingly giving away their lives when I'm actually telling them to do so. As in, yeah, I want to know the premise of how he got to that, to have that many women chained in his basement.
You know, and I think it's probably he's just like, he's sick in the head, like he's twisted. He got some screws loose, but he's also really like intelligent about the topic of religion, so maybe they're just trying to combine these two things. Like, he's an evil guy. He is an evil guy. Shit. But he's also, you know.
But his points were not far-fetched, right? It's one thing to just be evil. This is why I love when a villain has a strong backstory, where I can even like empathize in a bit. You know, that's why I like the Thanoses or the Killmongers, which those are just Marvel folks. But from this guy, what this guy told us, this guy was actively looking for the true religion. This guy scrutinized several different religions, right? As he said, and using the food metaphor, which I love words, right? Like, I try the Mickey the McDonald's, the Wendy's, and he say, i.e. Mormonism, Scientology, Islam, Buddhism. As in, this dude has dove deep into the world of religion, trying to find the right one, like, because there's so many, right? He took it upon himself to analyze all of them and pick the best. What he found, they're all BS. They're all iterations of the OG Judaism, right? They're all diluting the message little by little, little by little, little by little. And the examples that he used from the song, or they keep throwing little iteration puns throughout the movie, which I thought was so nice. He said, with great power can great responsibility. And Sister Paxton's like, Spider-Man. He's like, Voltaire.
And then, I didn't know that. I thought that was a Spider-Man quote.
That's iteration, right? I didn't know that too, right? Because we know the most popular one, the most famous one. And why are these other religions more famous? What he brought up, because they actually have sales team going out. And he broke down, isn't that what a missionary is? You know, it's a sales pitch. You come into my home, you're selling a product, you're selling an idea to me. And that's what Judaism doesn't have. And then to which she backlash, like, nah, you're wrong. Your shit is extremely flawed. Judaism is that low because you're not counting for the fucking Holocaust. You're not counting for thousands of Jews who were persecuted, eradicated, annihilated, obliterated. And I like that she highlights something that is extremely wrong in this world too. Sister Barnes, although not perfect, because homegirl is having freaking unprotected sex, because they're both married, to not have a child, like that's what that implant was in her arm that he misrecognized, but it is what it is. Although she's flawed too, she's able to see the broader picture. Homeboy is so lost, so disappointed in religion that he's focusing on he's seeing this from a unilateral point of view, which is something that we see a lot nowadays, right? Like, even Okay, what are the most toxic shit? Okay, like high value men. This shit that's the red pillars and shit, right? These guys focus on you need to be alpha, you need to be top dog, women need to want you. Yet these guys never touched up on the paternal side. What about these men? So you want them to keep chasing chicks in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s? So family's never gonna be a thing, right? It's through one lens. Let's just be that, where we're not even gonna touch up on being fathers. We're not even going to touch up on being a leader, a protector for your actual family, to be nurtured. No, you need to be stoic. I guess just Sister Barnes like, nah, bro, your shit is flawed. There's other reasons why that is, which I love the way they did that in this movie. There's a bunch of things I don't agree with. I hate the ending. For starters, I wanted Barnes to make it out. What's up? What's your question?
Yeah, no, I don't like the ending either.
Yeah, but okay, I like that Paxton came through as scared as she was, as vocally dominant that Sister Barnes was. Sister Paxton was actually picking up on all the details. That his hair was wet, you must have gone out. That the lady, you switched him up on the table. I like that they gave Homegirl her stuff too. But Sister Barnes didn't have to die. And also, if he cut her in that incision in this area of her fucking, her throat, how do you have enough strength to come back for a final blow? You should be dead.
Yeah.
But the chess match, the religious chess match between him and Sister Barnes, I thought was beautifully done. Both of these people had very valid points. I like when writers do that. Don't give me some shit that's extremely one-sided, because I can reason, I can think, I have a brain, I should be able to challenge your thoughts. So they insert a character in there, Sister Barnes, who constantly challenges him. With facts too. Yeah, she's not saying shit like, no, you're wrong. Like, bitch, no, you're wrong because X, Y, Z. I like that. I like that movie a lot, but I hate some stuff about it.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't touch on animal, because I feel like a lot of religion is very much human centric. Like, we are these reflections of God, right? So we have this importance that isn't given to an ant or a bee or maybe even a dog. But at the same time, I feel like the question of whether animals go to heaven or the cruelty that exists within the animal kingdom, because a lot of when people discuss religion and our relationship with God, naturally the question of morality comes into play a lot, being good to somebody else. I feel like that is a concept that does not exist. Well, it can exist in the animal kingdom, but it's a lot less. It's not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as conscious. It's not as free-willed as I feel like it is for a human. If a father lion kills a baby deer to feed its cub, it's how would God view this act in light of how humans perceive the love and kindness of God? Do you know what I mean? Animals can't rationalize why they would go through such immense pain. If a baby deer is being eaten alive, does that mean the lion is going to go to hell? But for a human, there's a lot more free will there. There's a lot more consciousness there. There's a lot more purposeful action there. But at the same time, dogs are creatures that are so filled with love, and they give people so much joy. It's how do you weigh the soul of a dog and the soul of a human in the eyes of God? And have you thought about that before? And have you come to any kind of, I guess, rationale or conclusion?
Well, the aspect of free will, that alone just differentiates animals from human beings, right? So from the food chain, like you said, a lion eating a cub, that's just what the cub is designed to be, the food for its predator, which is a lion. I'm assuming, so the food chain, right? Lions at the top, so they just die of old age, I guess. But or if they're cornered,
I think
if they're cornered by a group of hyenas or whatnot, they just die in group, I guess. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, they are called the king of the jungle, so
right. So where I'm getting to is, I don't think I don't think the conversation of heaven or hell or just or not goes into play for animals. They're just meant to be consumed by whatever the predators are, and they were supposed to be very large in numbers to not cause their race to go extinct as they're being eaten by their predators. Right? Like a mouse get eaten by a cat can be eaten by a fox by a fucking panther, the panther by a shit, and this by lion. Like that whole cycle is fine. But that's a whole different conversation I'm going to get into, as we have disrupted that fucking ecosystem, because that's why animals go extinct. You know, we hunt them for sport. Like, we're fucking up the climate. We're fucking up the planet, which is fucking up the climate, which is hurting a lot of their habitats. So, like, but to go back to us, the free will that we have, right? We have free will. Yes, we can decide to do something or not. At the same time, God, I think God, someone else might think that's just how we're born. God inserted something in us that's supposed to not block us, that's supposed to slow us down when we're about to do something that's wrong. That's your conscience, right? This is why your conscience rings when you're about to do something that's terrible, because you're not supposed to. I don't know if you don't get an alarm when you're about to do something good, because we're all designed to be good. But because of that free will that we have, we stray away from that. Your conscience say, hey, you're not supposed to do that. But at the same time, that conscience doesn't have a grip over you, which is why over time it will fade. This is why people who are truly evil, it took time for them to get into this ease to repeat something that's nefarious, something that's cruel, like something that's terrible, to the point where it becomes second nature. You know, like rapists or fucking kidnappers or whatever it is. Or, hey, folks who are going to Africa to harvest organs from children. You know, hey, these big diamond companies were having poor little African kids and countries fucking picking out whatever it is, diamonds or whatnot. So I think for animals, it's just not a conversation at all. But for human beings, it's just you are voluntarily straying away from being good. Like, I think.
Well, so why do you think God would have this system in the first place? Like, why, if he is such a benevolent overseer, why would he even allow animals to feel pain? Like, what is the... I mean, I have my... an answer that I've come to that I think is plausible, but it's not... it's different. But before I say that, I wanted to know, like, do you have any thoughts as to why there needs to be suffering in the first place? Like, why did this perfect being create such an imperfect world and then force us all to live in it?
The world became imperfect because of us, my opinion, again, right? It is what it is. The first sin, right? How, if you're biblical, if you're not, then it's all good, free will. But, the first sin, right? If you don't read the whole Bible, Christian, which you shouldn't, it's a whole Bible. You can just read the first fucking 3 chapters of Genesis.
Right? I will one day. I'll read the New Testament and the Old Testament.
So, how sin got into this world, right? Not to eat the fruit in the middle of the garden. Ate it. Great. God is omniscient, Christian. He knows it all. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. God comes and questions his creators. Did you eat from the fruit that I told you not to? Like, have you ever gotten have you ever got spanked by your parents, like as a kid? Mm-hmm. Or okay.
Oh, actually, no.
Now, of course, Christian, you're a golden child. I haven't too, actually, but I've heard. So the parents who are loving would ask you, hey, did you do what I told you not to do? They're already aware that you did it, but they're giving you an in to come in, to repent. Like, yes, Mom, I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry. Okay, maybe your punishment will be less harsh. God was already aware that Adam and Eve ate from the fruit. He gave them a chance to come through clean, to own up to their thing, which is one thing. And then forever, human beings just lost that character, which is accountability.
So, you know, so there. Have you ever heard of the evil God theory?
What is the evil God theory?
Basically, that God has malicious intentions. That he's not this benevolent creature, or not creature, this benevolent being who cares about us, but he does things for some selfish purpose. And when you think about the story of Adam and Eve, and I'm not saying that I'm about to call him like an evil god, but I'm just saying like that idea exists out there, and I'm going to use it to sort of like bolster what I'm about to say. So Adam and Eve, if the story were true, they ate. It was like from the tree of knowledge. Is that the idea?
I mean, the tree that told them if you eat from there, you'll die. And
right.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
And because they sought out knowledge, they were punished and the rest of humanity was punished. So in my mind, I'm thinking, why would you want to punish somebody for seeking out knowledge? Is that because there's something within that knowledge that God wouldn't want us to know? And so he damns the rest of humanity for us trying to learn beyond his scope? Like, because if you create a being that has the capacity to enact their free will such that they can seek out questions or answers to questions that they have, and yet their God punishes them for trying to be curious, I think that's a pretty fascinating angle to approach that story from. And then it could also like open up the door of like, what if God is trying to hide some truth of reality from us, and that would lead to the story of Adam and Eve. And then it would also kind of play into why we live in such a cruel world, and also what he was saying about how what if God was just had this big ego where we had to pray and bow down to him in order for him to listen to us. I think it's pretty fascinating to think about it that way. And also, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Actually, Christian, wait. Okay, so you're gonna say also, so you're gonna veer off to somewhere else. Or wait, are you staying connected, or are you?
Yeah, I was gonna veer off to somewhere else, but
okay. So before you veer off, right? That's one thing about the Bible. Again, I love details, right? So body language that I was saying. Not body language, like wording. Hey, did you do this? It's the woman they put next to me. Disrespect right there. No accountability. Okay, get the fuck out of my garden. It is what it is. But to touch up on your shit, not your shit, your thing. Why would he punish them for seeking out knowledge? They weren't seeking out knowledge. I can see how someone can just hear someone say it or vaguely read the scripture and be like, oh, he's a bad God. His subject were just looking for more enlightenment and he punished him for that. That's not what it is. They A, disobeyed the one order he gave them, and B, the serpent told them, if you eat from this tree, your eyes will open up and you will be like God. So it was for their own personal gain. It was for their own like greed. It was for their own agendas that they did that. It wasn't an act of I want to be smarter. It wasn't an act of I want to be able to do quick maths or I want my eyes to open up about the universe. No, it was solely personal. What's the thing? Personal what? Personal what? It was solely for their greed, I guess. Their own agendas, right? I'm reiterating shit that I'm saying. Yeah.
So you know what's interesting about that, right? Is that there's individuality in Adam and Eve. Like these are two independent beings with their own thoughts, their own actions, their own histories. And I think it's fair to say that every human being after them also has their own unique individuality, their own unique perceptions of their world. And so why would the actions of one individual or two who have their own beliefs affect a completely different individual and all the individuals that come after them?
Actually, Christian, I hear you. Those are folks who don't even read the Bible to understand that God tried over and over and over to stray folks closer to him. After Adam and Eve, they had two sons. Abel, good kid. Cain killed Abel. Cain got kicked out of the garden. Adam and Eve had more kids. From their lineage came Abraham, extremely loyal servant. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom and Gomorrah, I don't know how to say that in English. Regardless, with Lot, like God favored Abraham's whole lineage. We got strayed again. We brought Joshua, God was with him. We got strayed again. And then we got David came through. We strayed away again. This man sent his own son to okay, I shouldn't be cursing about this. This man sent his own son to die to bring us back to him through the Holy Spirit. We're doing our shit again. But it's a lack of accountability. It was one thing. It's not ignorance. What is it? It's not knowing something properly. Like not having the right amount of... You're not filled in enough on the Bible to even say the things you just said. It's from what you've heard or what you've thought you knew, what you just said. But my answer to everything you just said is how, because you don't read the Bible, you don't know that God has tried to get human beings to come back closer to him over and over. But again, this is just me saying the shit. It's there. It's in the book, but someone can not believe it. It's all good.
Okay, so maybe you can help illuminate some other things then. Like for Adam and Eve, these are two people. How could humanity propagate if it started with just two people?
Yes, Christian. So, okay, again, I always stretch things out. I can't prove this. I cannot prove this. My uncle who does the biblical podcast every morning. We had a detailed conversation about this. You don't read the Bible, so you're not going to get any of the shit that I'm talking about, but it's going to be very quick. We think the fruit was sex. My uncle and I. Probably some other people, it is what it is. We think Eve slept with someone who was not in favor of God. So, no, in the eyes of God, that God didn't favor. Because when Cain was banished, you don't know what Cain is. Cain is the son who killed Abel. Cain told God, put a mark on me so anyone who sees me don't kill me. Who's anyone? We only knew of Adam and Eve and Abel and Cain. Where are these other people coming from? Where did Cain go and marry a woman and create his own lineage? So what my uncle and I think, God had other creations, other human beings he made that were just faulty creations that was not in the garden. But the one that he thought he did right was Adam, which he put in a deep sleep, tuck one of his ribs, create a woman who's also right for Adam. We think homegirl went out and had sex. And we think when they say Adam partake too, we think it's a threesome. But again, that's my mind going. I think that all the time. We think Cain is so rotten because Cain is the product of Eve and some folks that were not in the favor of God, in the eyes of God, in a favorable way. So this is what mind going. I think if someone reads the Bible, they might understand what I'm saying, because where do these people come from? And if you don't read the Bible, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and it's fine. But yes, that's what we think, Christian. Michael and I. That's what we think. But now,
is this like is this just you guys theorizing what could happen, or is there a reference to this in the Bible of like these flawed beings other than Adam and Eve?
Right, because that's the thing. The Bible was written by what is it? The Bible is through the different translations in time, and also the like old language, and a lot of metaphors are used. So for that reason, when we piece things together, just him and I, we're like, okay, this might be what this is. Like, where do these people come from? Like, what does he mean by the sons of God and the sons of man? Like, where did man come from when we only knew two? Where did Cain go? Why did God say the descendants of Adam should not marry the descendants of Cain? They should stray away from these people. Like when we go deeper into further scriptures, still in Genesis, to see these two lineage, to know where they're originating from. My uncle and I, we always agree on the fact that, yeah, those were the other people. But we can't prove that. It's just a theory that only stays between him and I. Yeah, we had a field day when we broke that down that day. But it is what it is, right?
No, I mean, thinking about it from like, because thinking about it from like a storytelling perspective, that does sound pretty cool, right? Like, I mean, not cool, but it sounds like it would make for a very fascinating story to read or to listen about.
Christian, the stories in the Bible are fucking sick, man. Not well, I should not be using. I'm not gonna curse. I'm talking about the Bible. Yeah, you like to read, right? I think. Wait, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Oh no, I mean I will read the Bible. I know I've been saying that for a while, but with work and everything, like it's hard to read in general. So
I think because the church has made it a thing of breaking the Bible down per verses. So for that reason, they take the religious verse they want and they talk about it. Some people have this idea that the Bible is just the scripture of just don't do this, don't do that. God, Jesus came and Jesus died. There's so much more. Like the story of Ruth and Naomi, bro. The story of Abraham, his faith, Job losing everything, just David, redemption, fucking smash homeboy's wife, got homeboy killed. Like God, of course, killed a baby. Baby was never supposed to be born, bro. The different stories in the Bible are sick. Like Paul, bro, one boy writing letters from jail, the Apostle Paul, but crazy shit. But regardless, it's a hard life.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've heard that really just sort of fits, it sounds very plausible to me. I do feel like if there was any any school of thought that I'm more attracted to, it's this one, where the universe is trying to, like the universe can be called God, and God is trying to learn about himself. He's trying to understand himself. And so every single perspective that you could possibly have in this world is a matter of him understanding himself. So me, all the things that I've experienced from the moment I was born until the moment that I die, that is one perspective that is giving him a tiny bit more understanding about what he is. The same thing can be said for you. Everything you experience would just be him learning about himself. Every ant, him learning about himself. Every atrocity that happened in this world, that will teach him about the depths and the brutality that is within him. Every moment of joy or elation or kindness, that also teaches him about himself. But overall, and like every leaf on a tree, every wave, every cell, every atom gives an insight into who he is. And it's not just relegated to like Earth, like gravity, black holes, exploding stars, life on distant planets. This is all stuff that is this being learning about itself. So when it comes to like suffering and pain and like giving an explanation to that, I think is very plausible. How things can be so flawed because we are, and it also like a lot of times people say that we're extensions of God, right? We're created in God's image. That comes up a lot. And I think that can also be applied to this mode of thinking that I'm going down, because we are God. I am this God who created me, and you are the same God who created you. We are the same person. We're the same being. It's like, and that is that just sits right with me, because but then I mean there's still that question of like, what is beyond this being, right? What created this being? So, but I feel like that just makes sense to me, because I was listening to Neil, and this idea, it was he planted the seed of it in my head, I think, for the first time, because he said that there are 4 elements that make up everything in the universe. I think this is how it goes. It was like hydrogen, oxygen, or something like that, and that every single thing that exists is made up of these, at least made up of these 4 elements. So the very thing that makes up the universe is the very thing that makes up you and I, which means naturally we are the universe and the universe is us. So everything we perceive is just the universe perceiving itself and learning about itself. And I think that's I find myself drawn to that deeply, because it would make a lot of sense, but at the same time, and like leaves so many more questions. But still, I think it makes sense. Even like the idea of religion being created within itself, what that concept means, it's teaching about itself. Like it's viewing it's almost like it can be viewing itself as a god. Like it's fascinating stuff. It really is. But I think that is how I tend to view the world. If I were to zoom out way above, I think that's what I would think.
No, okay. I see what you mean. I mean, that's true. Like, we are the universe. It is us. Yeah, it's living through us. And
Yeah.
I like that take. That's take, because it is alive. The planet is alive. It's just like, if trees are able to grow, it's fertile. It's breathing.
And also, we as humans, we have naturally this curiosity in us. So I feel like the desire for us to learn, maybe the ability for us to learn, and the ability for us to progress, and that craving for knowledge that I think humanity as a whole can be said has. It could also tie back to the craving that this being has to just learn, to just understand things. So,
but a lot of times I wish we didn't have free will, because all these things are so dangerous, right? Like that, this knowledge, this insatiable thirst of more. Like even in the Bible, like the La Tour de Babel, I think, Babel Tower. I don't know, Babel Tower. I don't know the translation in English. It got to a point where men were trying to reach at God, like physically, as they were building a tower to go up in heaven. So in a way of fucking tampering with this little project of theirs, God just made sure that everyone was speaking a different language. So for that reason, that project couldn't continue, because they couldn't understand each other to keep it going. But it's just, or even nowadays, right? Like look at all the advancements that's happening, the technological advancement, but look at the side effects of those advancements. Why? Because men is so blinded by greed and thirst for knowledge, sure, but wealth at the same time too. Like look at all the mining of like cryptocurrency, the effect that has in the planet. The effect of thousands of data centers is drowning towns, like drought, like the effect of pollution, of clothing companies who are promoting fads, which are quick fashion lines that are only there for a little bit. What they do, they throw away the waste on the landfill, which pollutes waters for people who are relying on rivers to drink, who's polluting the fucking land with waste. We are destroying this live planet that you're referring to because of this insatiable need for wealth, knowledge, power. So from time to time, I always revert to the fact that I think we would have been better off if we just didn't have free will. If we didn't have free will, there would have been no one who would want to be in control of us. There wouldn't have been so many religions, so many doctrines. Because, like Mr. Reed mentioned, at their core, if they're really as like nefarious deep down as he described them, right? Then it's just people with very ill intent who's looking for malleable minds, who's looking for people in need. Oof, like he mentioned, why do you think your folks go to Haiti after hurricanes?
I knew as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, bro. this is why I wanted to watch the movie.
These people, man. God, these people. And those aren't, that's not a joke, by the way. That's like facts. But regardless.
But I did want to touch on what you said about free will, though. Because I think if we didn't have free will, then life would be meaningless. You know, like, because if you don't have free will, then what is the point in you even
That's true.
existing?
Ooh, Christian, the video that you sent me. All right, we're an hour over. We actually we didn't even beat this movie down. I forget we touched up on the core aspect of this movie, but the conversation was fucking sick.
The whole movie is about questioning religion.
Yeah.
So
This is true. So in a way, we did heretic justice. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a little chunk of stuff I would have done differently. I love the execution all the way up to Sister Barnes' death. I understand he had to walk Sister Paxton through this to get her to see that you're only here because I wanted you to be here because you're under my control. The same way you're wearing things they're telling you to wear, you're living your life based on like what they're telling you to do, which is so true, right? Like religion really. There's two things that I always think, my uncle actually instilled this in me and then he swayed me on this side. I'm like, I believe it. Two things are destroying this planet: religion and tradition, because it keeps you laser focused, but your lenses are unilateral. It's a one-track mind. So for that reason, you're not able to do what Sister Barnes did. You're not able to take a broader scope, to take this and remove that. Religion and tradition tells you just do this for that and that's it. Don't question it. And you live in a world who's constantly evolving, right? We are learning more. What you know today, our ancestors didn't. The knowledge was not there. The information was not there. So for that reason, these things should also be amended for the better, right? Things shouldn't infiltrate religion that should not be in it. but there's a lot of fucking shit. Regardless, man, it's a touchy topic these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it, Christian. We've beat down this horse so hard it's bleeding from its ears. And I'll say one last thing. Notice how it happened. Sister Paxton still ended up praying at the end, because although we know that it's not true, it just gives us comfort. Like it's nice to pray for others. It's that good feeling, whether I believe it or not, which is what that they capitalize on a lot too. Some of these religious heads, like there's a sense of like going to Haiti, right? Like they mentioned after hurricane, someone coming offering your Bible, telling you let's pray together. That might be the best thing you need in that moment. You're not aware that you're being manipulated. You're not aware that this person is catching you at your most vulnerable. This is the fucking aftermath of a hurricane. But
I mean,
regardless,
religion is, and like faith is just like in so many ways it's just hope. Like the courage to keep living and to keep moving on because you think things are gonna get better. This is the last thing I'll say. I was watching this guy. He's like the top live streamer in the world. I've mentioned it to you before. His name is Kai Cenat. And I don't watch him like at all really, but he did this thing with Kevin Hart and Drewski, where this is the third time he does like this sleepover with him. It's hilarious. But I was watching his video, one of his videos, and he said, "I thank God for everything because God has never let me down." And when he said that, I was like, "Well, he's let down a lot of other people." But it's just like it's crazy how somebody in that position of success, like, they might have the wildest attachment to God because I could see how they would attribute so much of where they are in life to him. But it's so easy to think about the others. Well, not easy, but it's so important to think about the other side of things too. Like there's people in North Korea, they're not like Christian or Catholic, but there's people that are in some of the worst kinds of suffering that you could possibly imagine, and they didn't necessarily do anything wrong in their life. Right. And God wasn't looking out for them.
And you're right, Christian. You're right. And I'll say one final thing to fucking end this. Like, Christian, moving forward, I want you to look at these things through those lenses. First truth, that also not truth, right? This is subjective. This is because I read the Bible. Someone might say it's not. It is what it is. When God gives us free will, that's him promising to not meddle in our shit. What's happening in North Korea is someone who's all powerful who said, I'm going to fucking keep my folks chained. That's that person who is exerting his free will right. And that person have a lot of people backing him up. It is what it is. What I'm trying to say is, promise not to meddle. He's not meddling in our shit. So things that are happening to us, that's true. Things that are happening to us, I get it. Unfortunate or not. Now, the flip side that I want you to start thinking about. You woke up this morning. A lot of people didn't. You have food to eat. A lot of people don't. You're still alive. You didn't have a birth defect. Some people do. So where a bunch of people are looking at, people are suffering, he's not doing shit, people are doing this, where is he? People failed to realize the little things that could have gone wrong in their lives that haven't or didn't. So for that reason, he get no credit for these things. And again, that's subjective. Someone might say, Pierre don't know what I'm talking about, is what it is. But this can be coming back. Okay, I'll let you say your shit and then we wrap this shit up.
Yeah, no, I like that hasn't escaped me, like at all. The the fact that like there are good things that happen like to people like me, for example, like waking up. Yeah, that is an incredible thing that I can wake up.
Someone's not waking up tomorrow morning. Someone's dying in their sleep tonight, Christian. Not someone. Someone's. A bunch of someone's are dying in their sleep tonight.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I guess what I was more so thinking is like a baby in the Holocaust that got burned alive for no reason. Like, what about them?
There is a reason. There's a man who said fuck these people, who got other men and other women to say fuck these people and kill these people.
Yeah.
Like, there are reasons.
Yeah, but
these things are not of God.
No, but like
Okay.
what you're saying is like, yeah, but what you were saying is like, there's also like a lot of little good things happening to me that can be credited to God, right? So like,
I can see I'm contradicting myself. As in, he's actually meddling by keeping you alive. Why isn't he meddling and helping those other people? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, I understand. Well, another thing too, right? He's in my book, right? He's God. He does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. In terms of our decision making, this is where he gives us the free will, because it's our decisions that's harming others. It's our decisions that's harming, like killing other people. But in terms of his realm, he does the shit that he wants, like make sure that I wake up in the morning, or make sure that when I drive to work I don't get in an accident, or just I don't know. That's right. What did I say in the beginning of this thing, right? Like, I'm not gonna be able to prove to you with tangibles, with hardcore facts.
And that's why I think that's another reason why I think my view on this, that we're the universe learning about itself, is also very applicable to these very hard to wrestle with concepts. Like if you're a baby dying in fire in the Holocaust, well, that's just the universe trying to understand how evil it can be. Now, it's not something that would give like comfort to those who are suffering in this world, but
Right.
it's like even the people who are suffering, it's the universe understanding of what it means to suffer within itself. But yeah, that's why I feel like this like view that the universe is just gaining knowledge can explain a lot of the inconsistencies and a lot of the atrocities and a lot of the beautiful things that happen more than I've heard anything else, really.
Okay. And I hear you. And it's a fucking sick thing, diversity of opinion. But which amendment is that? When they apply to black folks, when they allow them to be applied to us. Was that the first opinion and speech? Sure, but yeah, that's
freedom of speech.
Apparently, whatever that is. But that's great. But yeah, man, it's okay. This was a cool movie. Yeah, and this is a fun conversation, and we'll have plenty of these in our Patreon. Whoa! Christian, I just advertised it. I just took it out there.
No, that
Shit.
was the first time.
Crazy. Okay. All right, it's been real. I'm actually going to sleep.
Yeah, I gotta sleep too.
All right, folks, and God bless everyone. Kidding. All right, Christian, bye. You can cut this shit.
All right, see you.